I married my wife 5 years ago. We have a son. On paper, it looks like every other boring suburban win. Mortgage, matching mugs we never use, a garden hose coiled neatly on the side of the house. Behind the curtain, a steady drip of small humiliations that stack like loose coins in my pocket until I reach for my keys and they all pour out. I know the internet diagnosis list by heart. Gaslighting, covert narcissism, trauma bonding, the whole Abstra bundle. I also know the maybe I'm dramatic script. I played both roles, victim and the overreacting partner at 2 a.m. who swears they're right. I have lived in both these versions of myself so long, I can't tell which one is me tonight. Today started normal, which is the worst kind of start because normal has taught me to trust the small things and then have them betray me. I came home from work with that stupid, calm optimism you only get when you've had one quiet, uneventful day and your brain decides you deserve chips. I fried some potato chips because I'm a simple person and crispy potatoes are a low-stakes joy. She was in the kitchen. Son was doing a complicated Lego ritual that included a tiny cape we both made fun of. I fried one small batch, oil's hot. I thought, well, whatever, might as well fry more because why not? Apparently frying more was a federal offense. She grabbed the bag out of my hand like I was 6 and about to stab a cake with my finger, looked at me the way people look at squirrels who get too close to bird feeders, and said in that exact phone recording cadence she uses when she wants me to feel small, try the first batch before making more. And then repeated it like she was buffering like a broken voicemail. Try the first batch before making more. Try the first batch before making more. Repeating is her thing. She repeats phrases until the original meaning collapses into accusation. Our son stepped between us and said, "Stop, stop." And I swear to God, the room did that thing where sound fell out of the sky and smashed on the countertop. When your kid has to be the referee, that's a phrase I didn't think would land on me. It felt obscene. It felt like the house had learned a new hobby, making my kid teach my marriage how to be okay. It's never about chips, and we all know this. Domestic arguments are never about the thing you see. They are about the closet full of small things, the late rent, the passive-aggressive flings with my parental guilt, the time she insisted we invite her sister even though I said no, the time she called my mom to check in without telling me, and then said I didn't mean to, like that erases all the other times she did mean to. The chips tonight, catalyst, excuse layered onto old anger like a bad lasagna. I wanted to throw the pan. I wanted the noise. I wanted to make the house shake enough to dislodge every memory of the quiet apologies that mean nothing. Instead, I stood there thinking, I hate her. I hate my wife. I need to get out. And the worst part is I've had that thought before and then shrugged it off because she promised she'd work on it. She'd go to therapy. She said the magic words at midnight after she cried about how tired she was of fighting. I forgave. I took the terms she offered and shelved them like books I would eventually get around to reading. I'm 38. We married when the world felt like it might still be mine. She is 32. There's a son in the middle. Ages feel important only because they are used as reasons to stay, like we're too young to throw this away, or we've waited 8 years for stability, or think of the kid. Who is we when one of us weaponizes small things and the other learns to live at an angle to avoid being struck? I started scrolling through our recent messages after she stormed to the bedroom and slammed something that sounded like it might be our wedding photo against the frame. I don't usually do message forensics at 8 p.m., but tonight felt like an arm that had been twisted until I could see stars. I opened the family group chat. Sunday brunch? Mom. Heart emoji, Aunt June. Is it a big thing? Do we need to wear fancy? In-law sister. This one has never once texted without an agenda. Don't forget Kara's birthday, her sister. Tommy wants to stay over, me, 7:06 p.m. earlier that day. I typed out like I was building a bridge. The messages are normal, bland, but the leak starts small. A screenshot of our DM thread from last week. Someone forwards it with a caption, "Wow, this is cold." Her sister's name attached. I have no idea when that screenshot was taken. I have no idea who saved it or why. One forwarded message is enough to set a small poison in the water. Text from my mother that reads like a passive-aggressive fortune cookie. I worry about you. Don't let pride make decisions. 2 dots. Then the sad face emoji. My phone pings. It's a voice note from her mother-in-law. "Oh, honey, I heard things. Are you sure you're okay? We care." The "we care" phrasing is a tarp. They wrap you around in storms and then claim ownership of your space. Ownership is a pattern in my life. The kind of people who care loudly and then decide details about our son's schooling without asking. There's a DM thread I find when I scroll further down. Her friend group. She's tagged in a story, a 2-second clip where she laughs and a guy, someone I don't know, leans in and drops his voice low and her shoulders relax and I feel my chest do a falling thing. It's nothing internet-wise. It's a 1.2-second thing. But our brain is a county of tiny warnings and that video has delivered a jury summons. That's the thing with paranoia and marriage and the quiet, soft erosion of trust. Sometimes evidence is a thing. Sometimes it's a tone. Sometimes it's a 3-second voice note left on my wife's phone where she says, "I'm so tired of apologizing for loving the things I love." The voice note is ambiguous. Did she mean me? Did she mean the way I leave socks everywhere? Did she mean her job? Did she mean the way I cry in bed? Context is a weapon and also a shield. There are usernames, and the usernames have history. There's a message from someone called Margot Reads with a heart, and she responds, "You always know how to read me, and I do the thing where I tell myself I'm overreacting." We built our relationship on rationalizations, right? We used explanations like paper mache to sculpt truth. It holds for so long. I want to outline the timeline because that is how sane people process. I want to bullet point the things so the world will accept them as facts and not feelings. Fried chips incident, 7:14 p.m. Mild escalation to full silent freeze-out. Son intervenes, 7:15 p.m. Wife storms out, 7:18 p.m. Family group chat screenshot forwarded, 7:32 p.m. Voice note from mother-in-law, 7:44 p.m. Tagged Instagram story, 12-second loop, unknown guy, reposted 8:01 p.m. But the timeline turns into a snake when you try to pin it. She called me later to ask why I was upset. She said, "You seem distant." I said, "You grabbed the bag of chips." She said, "I was worried about the oil." She said, "It's always the same drama." She said, "You never stop. My brain has a strobing light." Are those her words or my thoughts? Did she actually say that, or did my memory rewrite her into the villain I needed because I had already written her into that role? This is the gaslighting question. Is she making me think I'm wrong, or am I losing my grip? I have to keep asking because it's how sanity is negotiated in a house where both people are fluent in guilt. I have a habit of laughing to diffuse. It's less expensive than therapy, and God knows it is cheaper than divorce. I text our friend Lena. She's the one who always says, "You don't have to be performatively okay." And I send her a short clip of the kitchen, son's tiny cape on the counter, the empty pan, my breath fogging on the window. Lena responds with the voice note I love. Short, blunt, no polish. Get out for an hour, go to the coffee shop, breathe. Her voice is a lifeline, but not a plan. Friends are oxygenators, not architects. The house is full of other people's words tonight. Everything is a script. My mother-in-law's voice note loops in my head like a cheap ad. Her sister texts me this weird little passive-aggressive emoji, the one that is a smile with eyes that say they know more than they ought to. People collude with silence. Silence is an accessory she wears really well. She is quiet, and then she drops a bomb and you're expected to clean up the shards. And there's the larger pattern. In-laws making decisions, loyalty tests disguised as family dinners. The week before, at my nephew's christening picnic, where I sat in the corner trying to balance a tray of deviled eggs while she negotiated with my mother about where we should sit. "You two should sit with my people," she'd said with that phrasing that makes everyone choose sides. She corrected my mother about table placement, got into a whisper argument about seating arrangements, and then later texted me, "Sorry I embarrassed you earlier," followed by, "My family deserved better." The apology is always folded like origami, polite, neat, and impossible to refold into trust. She's charming in public. That is part of the trauma bonding toolkit. They do the kind, perfect, generous thing on camera, and the private person is small and sharp and meant for me only. On the bad night, she calls me oversensitive. On the good mornings, she brings me coffee in bed and remembers the exact way I like it. No sugar, one cream. You might think the duality would help me make a decision. It doesn't. It makes me hungry for the good parts and terrified of the bad ones. Confusingly, she has also been the one who takes our son to soccer, who sings in the shower, who hides my keys when she wants me to slow down. She is not cartoon villain evil, she is complicated and soft, and sometimes brilliant. She's also the person who, on the phone with my mom, once said, "You're the kind of girl men settle for when they fail." And when I confronted her, she said, "I didn't mean it like that." Which is the thing. How do you catalog a person who alternates between ruthlessness and tenderness? Where do you file, "I said that mean thing 3 nights ago," next to, "I learned about your childhood fear and sat with you"? It's a weird love. Hot and cold. Love bombing and then withdrawal. A classic push-pull. Those are clinical words for how people emotionally tumble you. I Google them sometimes at 3 a.m., but Google isn't a person with a warm hand to hold. Google is a mirror that has no empathy. Oh, and there's the cheating rumor I find in the margins. Not a full-blown scandal, just a comments on a post. "You two are goals. Also, is it true?" Anonymous account. And her reaction when I showed it, she smiled a way that is a barometer on this relationship. A smile that meant you're seeing shadows because you want to. She accused me of snooping. "Why are you looking at my phone?" she asked. And then, "You always do this. You always look for things to confirm your fears." In that moment, she was performer and prosecutor. In that moment, I could see the gears whirring in her head, push me to prove I'm not suspicious, and then say, "See, you're the problem," when I look. It's a neat trap. It's efficient. I started keeping little files on my phone, not evidence because I don't want my life to be a police case, little timestamps, screenshots of strange messages, voice notes that say nothing but the exact flourish in her apology. I have a folder called Maybe I'm Crazy and one called Don't Forget. Sometimes the files read like a grocery list, sometimes like an indictment. Tonight, after the chips, she left the passive-aggressive text in the group chat for no reason. It said, "Maybe we should stop panicking over nothing. Parents are watching." And then she sent a laughing gif. It was targeted. It wasn't direct. That's how she throws grenades now, indirectly with an audience, and then laughs as the shrapnel hits me. The group chat commentary? 2 people answered with hearts. One sent the ketchup emoji. 30 minutes later, her sister posted a story, a smiling photo of her and our son at a playground, tagged with 3 exclamation points and a winky face. The whole internet is curated calm, but the real house is messy and full of unfinished laundry and questions. I began to notice a pattern in the way she talks about we versus you. She says we when it suits her photo ops and you when she wants me to explain. We buys the brunch table, you explain why you're tired. That's manipulative grammar. Grammar is politics in a marriage like mine. Prepositions are loaded like small guns. I go sit in the car and I breathe and I write this in a notes app like a prayer. My hands shake, the streetlight flickers. In the parking lot, I listen to a voice note she left 10 minutes ago. Her voice is soft, and she says, "I don't know why this keeps happening." It's the kind of line that could be real remorse. It could also be the setup for the next chapter where I have to fix everything while she practices being victim sweet. She's practiced being sorry before. She says it in a way that makes you work for absolution. My phone buzzes. It's a DM from someone who knows her, an old coworker I once met at a party. They say, "Do you want to meet for coffee? I have something I think you should know." My throat goes dry. My brain does the thing where it must choose, trust the person who asked for coffee or trust the person who sleeps next to me who knows how I make my coffee. Both choices risk losing something. And here is the heart of tonight, the bit that makes me write this like I'm scribbling a ransom note. Part of me thinks I made it all up. Part of me thinks I am a dramatic person who collects slights like stamps. But this other part, this other loud, clear part says, no, something is here. The house is full of soft proofs. The messages, the voice notes that pause too long, the way she touches me when we're public and doesn't when we're private, the forwarded screenshot she didn't know was forwarded, the dinner where in-laws manhandled our son's nap schedule without asking, the way she says, "It's your problem," and then feeds the problem to someone else who will wrap it in worry and then hand it back. I'm exhausted. I am over-explaining. I am tired of performing sanity to people who count my breaths and rate them. It's 11:27 p.m. and my son is asleep. Somewhere inside our house, the washing machine hums. The world is this small mechanical thing that keeps spinning while we name our harm. I'm writing this because I can feel myself slipping into the old scripts, the ones where I become muted and apologetic. I am writing this because when words are in the world, they have weight. When I keep a record, maybe I will be able to remember the time she apologized with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Maybe I will have proof that I am not the only chaotic thing here. Or maybe I am the one making storms and everyone else will read this later and shrug. They will say, "You always were dramatic." But if I don't put it down now, I will become the person who hides evidence of her own pain because she is embarrassed by crying. I'm typing in lowercase because that's what feels real now. The world wants my story to be grammared and edited and sized for traction. I want it raw. I want it messy. I want the small lines to be visible. The voice note she sent at 9:03 p.m., I'm fine. And the one she sent at 10:12 p.m., 3 minutes of silence and then we need to talk when you get home. The silence is an argument step. Silence is her way of making me fill the holes with apology. Oh God, my phone vibrates again. It's her sister. She sends a screenshot of a DM, not from me, from someone who claims they saw my wife at a bar last week. I think you should know. The timestamp on the message is 2:03 a.m. The image is grainy. In the photo, she looks like a stranger because angles hide truth. I don't know whether to confront her or to die a little more discreetly. I am curled in the driver's seat and I feel weightless and heavy and small all at once. It's dark outside. The house lights are on like a ship signaling. I think about leaving. I think about packing a bag. I think about the logistics of trauma. Who takes our son? How do you take children without legal contracts? How do you walk out of a marriage people think you're supposed to honor? And here's the thing. I am not a hero. I am not a villain. I am tired. I am smart enough to know the patterns. I am drained enough to doubt them. I am in the middle of the worst kind of storm because it is not dramatic in a single cinematic scene. It is slow. It is the low-level poison that accumulates. So this is the setup. The chips, the screenshots, the voice notes, the group chat, little bombs placed in polite containers. The warm hand that holds our son while you read, the cool voice that says you're overreacting while her sister reposts screenshots, the weird family decisions that become loyalty traps, the glimpses of other men in her stories, the way she says we in public and you in private, the silence that follows an apology, and the voice notes that never quite answer. Okay, so I went back inside after sitting in the car like some exiled house guest outside his own life. She was on the couch, scrolling her phone, pretending nothing had happened. Not even pretending, actually, embodying nothing. The kind of silence that isn't peaceful, but tactical. Our son was asleep upstairs. The hum of the dishwasher was the only sound. I sat down across from her, not beside her, and said, "Who sent my messages to your sister?" She didn't look up. She just sighed that slow, scripted sigh she does when she's got to reframe reality. Why are you always looking for enemies? Not, who did it? Not, what messages? Not, that's insane, I would never. Just, why are you always looking for enemies? Like I invented the screenshot. Like I typed my own DM to myself, leaked it, and then gaslit her.
I don't know how to explain the next 30 minutes except to say it felt like being interrogated by someone who already knew the answers but wanted to see if I would lie. She kept asking, "How did you see it? Who showed you?" over and over. When I said her sister, she laughed and shook her head like I'd made the dumbest mistake in the world. "You think she's loyal to you? God, you're delusional." It's funny until it isn't. Family group chat receipts, 9:41 p.m. Mom, don't air private things here. Her sister, he's overreacting, it was nothing. Me, stop sharing my messages. Mother-in-law, sweetheart, maybe cool down. Both of you, we love you. Her, thanks mom, Ed. Do you see it? I'm bleeding out in a chat, and she's getting a heart emoji for thanks mom. Then the dinner party happened. Backstory? Her cousin was throwing this engagement dinner. Small restaurant, private back room, 15 people. I didn't want to go. I told her I felt wrung out, that I didn't want to play happy couple when my insides felt like a war zone. She said, if you don't go, they'll know something's wrong. Is that what you want? And there it was again, the loyalty trap. So I went. And let me tell you, I have never been so hyper-aware of forks in my life. Every clink sounded like an accusation. I sat there watching her laugh with people, brush crumbs off her cousin's jacket, do that performative shoulder touch thing that makes her look affectionate and warm. Nobody at that table would believe me if I told them about the chips or the screenshots or the way she made our son beg us to stop yelling. Then, mid-toast, her phone lights up. I see the name, Margot reads again. She smiles at the notification. Not a Twitch smile, a real one. The kind I haven't seen directed at me in months. And then, I swear to God, she slides the phone face down and looks straight at me across the table, like daring me to react. After dinner, I asked, who's Margot? She said, oh my God, are you jealous of a book club friend? Me, book club friends don't put hearts in names. Her, you're embarrassing yourself. Me, so tell me who she is. Her, if you trusted me, you wouldn't need to ask. Do you feel that? It's like being stuck in one of those dreams where you're yelling and no sound comes out. Awkward voice note from her sister, 12:17 a.m. Look, I don't want to take sides, but maybe you should think about why she feels the need to talk to other people so much. Like, maybe if you weren't so intense, I don't know, just think about it. That's not neutrality. That's planting a landmine and then calling it gardening.
Fast forward to the weekend, brunch at her parents' place. I walk in and immediately her mom hugs me with that too long hug that says, I know things you don't. Her dad pulls me aside to ask if I'm working enough hours. Translation, are you a good enough provider or is my daughter caring too much? Meanwhile, she's in the kitchen with her sister laughing at something on her phone, and when I walk in, they go silent. We sit at the table, scrambled eggs, toast, family niceties, and then her mom says, out of nowhere, you two should think about counseling before it gets worse. I almost dropped my fork because how the hell did she know? Unless my wife told her, unless she's already written the story of our marriage in a way where I'm the unstable one and she's the martyr. And honestly, I think she has. The suspense part, the mind-bending part, is that I can't tell if I'm insane. I can't tell if the room really goes quiet when I walk in or if I'm paranoid. I can't tell if the screenshots and leaks are deliberate sabotage or if they're dumb coincidences. I can't tell if Margot is a threat or just a friend I've twisted into something darker. But I do know this. Every time I start doubting myself, something else happens. Like 2 nights ago when I went to grab her laptop to look up a recipe. She always leaves it open, and it was suddenly password protected. She's never locked it before. When I asked why, she said work stuff. But here's the kicker. I watched her type the password. I memorized the keystrokes. I tried them later. They didn't work. She didn't forget her password. She changed it after she saw me notice.
I decide to do something stupid and theatrical because at this point, subtlety feels like a favor I can't afford to give someone who keeps weaponizing it. I text Lena, my friend who is honest and terrible and the only person who, when I bluntly say I need receipts, actually brings me paper bags labeled truth. I can't handle this alone. Come over tonight. Bring your recorder. Bring moral outrage. She replies with a string of flame emojis and a I'm there. I tell myself I'm only doing this to get answers. I tell myself I'm doing it for our son. That's the lie we tell to make betrayal feel like a mission. We picked tonight to go to my wife's cousin's wedding rehearsal dinner because of course the universe schedules the thing where everyone watches you in a tiny mirrored room. The rehearsal dinner is at our aunt's house, small, warm, full of old china and people who smell like memory. I say yes to go because my absence would be noticed and absence now reads like confession. Plus, public places are where she shines. I figure if there's evidence of her being two-faced, it's more likely to show in private where she's less performative. Stupid logic, but I chew it like a piece of gum until it tastes like iron. The rehearsal dinner has all the trappings, choke-worthy candles, polite toasts, a man in an off-white suit who will be married tomorrow to her cousin cousin. I smile and clink a glass like I am constructed from ceramic and hope I don't break. I watch her move through the room, smiling, touching shoulders, offering anecdotes that make people laugh. She is brilliant at being loved in public. I keep thinking about the slipping, the phone tucked face down, the private voice notes, the forwarded screenshots, the way her sister smiles at things with teeth that know secrets. Midway through the dessert course, because life hates a clean arc, her phone vibrates. I see it. Margot reads hearts. Everyone laughs. She looks down, touches the screen like a reflex, and for the first time in a long time, her face doesn't have performative warmth. It has a private thing folded in it, like she's reading something that isn't meant for anyone at this table. She slides it face down. I stand up, which is dramatic but unavoidably human because I'm an emotional person who will always choose to act rather than live with the suspense. "Who's Margot?" I ask, and the room lights like a match. Silence is a tool in drama. It makes people lean forward. Her lips move into that practiced smile. "It's a book friend. Why are you making a scene?" she asks, but the words come out measured like a trained performer detaching herself from a role. Her cousin gives a half laugh. Her aunt clutches a napkin. My stomach is a fist. I don't have proof. I have a name and that's thin skin to use as a shield. But then, Lena, bless her cautious, reckless soul, pulls out her phone. "Margot's been DMing you a lot," she says. The table turns like a slow wave. "What?" she asks, startled now. She's good at sudden surprise. It's a practiced thing. "Why would she say that? Margot?" "I never..." Her voice cracks a little, but it's the kind of crack that can be glued over with a later explanation about stress. "I'm about to leave it because I'm rational and because public scenes are messy," but then her cousin, who is good and blunt and possibly tired of domestic choirs, says, "If there's something, we can talk later. This is not the place." And then her dad says in that menacing grandfatherly voice, "We don't need drama. Are you okay?" Like I'm an earthquake he's trying to smooth. And then, as the room's temperature rises, her sister, who is allergic to directness, slides a folded piece of paper across the table toward our cousin. It's an old thing. People hand notes like confessions at church socials. Everyone watches. In the quiet, her sister says, "We found some messages," like she is naming a creature. The paper is a screenshot. The screenshot is of a DM thread, her messages, flirty lines, hearts, a nickname I don't recognize. It's not full-blown pornographic proof, it's a breadcrumb trail, but the room eats breadcrumbs when the main course seems suspicious. I stand, mostly because my knees want to betray me and because I'm allergic to being gaslit on public. I pick up the paper. My hands are shaking. The screenshot shows her laughing emoji after a guy calls her dangerous. It's not a smoking gun. It's not unequivocal. It's flirtation, housed in the flimsiness of emojis. But my wife's thumb is in 3 of the messages, and the timestamp is the night she, quote, worked late. The night my son asked me why mom didn't sleep on the couch. The night she told me she was doing late hours at the clinic. Margot Reeds isn't the name in the screenshot, it's another username, but it's the same tone. I can't help it. My brain, trained by months of trickery, fills in blanks like a lunatic artist. I show the screenshot to the cable, and the silence is a thick, heavy thing. People look at her. They look at me. They look at the fork. A wedding rehearsal dinner is supposed to have nice candles, not the sense that someone just lit a fuse. Her reaction is slow-motion cinematic. She takes a breath, and I can see the math happening. Do I apologize and risk admitting guilt? Do I deflect and seem defensive? She chooses the weapon of projection. "You're making this about you again," she says. "You love drama. You've always loved being the wounded thing." She looks at me with pity. Pity that belongs to the victim, but she gives it anyway, like a costume. The cousin, bless him, says we are family. We should support you, but we also shouldn't have secrets. His words are small and real. Her dad says something about dignity. Diverse voices, one chorus, crisis. It gets worse, because of course it does. Her sister, the one who forwarded the screenshot earlier, stands up and drops the other bomb. She says, "We also found messages between you and someone else." And then she slides another paper the other way. My throat closes. The second screenshot is of my name, my number on her phone in a thread called Late Night Check-ins. My own ego trips over itself. I am an idiot who left fingerprints around the house like breadcrumbs. The second screenshot is of a message I supposedly sent. "I miss you tonight." Dated 3 nights ago. I know exactly where I was 3 nights ago. Balcony, a cigarette I don't smoke, a rerun show on in the background. I did not send that message. I have never sent that message. The words are mine in a way I don't own. The phone shows my name and the timestamp. The room takes a breath that tastes like a courtroom. Someone in the room says, "Is that from his phone?" And a chorus answers, "No." My wife looks at me with something like triumph and something like sorrow. She says he's been messaging her, or someone is pretending to be him. Which is it? The question lands like mustard on a fine china plate. And here's where the fallacy traps me. When both sides can present evidence and counter-evidence, everyone gets dizzy and picks a side based on taste. People choose the person who makes them comfortable. My mother, who has been quiet, stands and says, "We love you, son, but this looks bad." She says it like she is accepting a verdict. My palms grind into the paper like a person trying to read a book through a fogged window. I try to explain. I show my texts. I pull up my phone, but hers and everyone else's phones are already a ring of accusation and no one wants to look at the same time. Her sister says, "Why would you fake messages?" And I open
open my mouth and the word planting, like someone planted, feels too sci-fi to say at a family dinner, and yet it's the only explanation that fits the sudden symmetry. Her suspicious messages suddenly mirrored by my supposed messages. And then my phone buzzes. It's a voice note from Lena. "Check your messages now." I click and the audio plays. Her voice, direct, saying, "I just went through Margot's DM favorited messages, and she's been sending screenshots of her own thread to her sister. I don't know why, she's trying to make you jealous." Lena's voice is steady. There's also a new screenshot showing a message from your number sent at 2:03 a.m., but the device ID doesn't match yours. There are inconsistencies. The room tilts. People glance at their phones fast like moths looking for a light. Suddenly, it's not just a story. Evidence is spinning in the centrifugal. Her sister says, "We found a tracker app on the old tablet." And her aunt says, "My nephew told me he saw her on a dating app." The house becomes an echo chamber of accusations and half-poofs. I keep hearing my own name like an echo in a cave. My wife is both fragile and precise. She can make forgiveness sound like a blade. She is also someone who knows the exact price of a well-timed sad face emoji. The climax comes when her phone, which has been face down like a quiet animal, lights up with a video. Someone, at some point earlier that day, had recorded a short clip. Her and a man in a cab laughing. It's 30 seconds long. She's alive in it in a way I haven't seen in months. Unguarded, hair undone. Her laugh full. The video is grainy, the kind of footage someone takes on a whim, but the timestamp is 3 nights ago. The caption, added by someone who wanted me to see, reads, "Good times, XOX." My heart stops, because timing is a knife, and it's been turned. And then, like the worst possible gaslighting weather, the man in the video looks directly at the camera and says a name. Not my name, not Margot's username, a different name. A name I recognize because it's the man who used to fix our neighbor's squeaky fence. The world contracts in weird ways.
I want to break things, I want to run, I want to demand answers, and then demand them again, and then demand receipts, and then demand a quarterback for my feelings, but the human drama is messy. We are messy. In front of an aunt with pearls and a cousin in cufflinks, people take sides, and family is a mob that moves on cues. And then the ultimate twist, because of course there is one. Lena sends another voice note. "Don't freak out, listen." She plays a recording she made without me knowing. It's a conversation between my wife and her sister from earlier that day. At first it's small talk, then the tone drops to conspiratorial. "We'll push him," her sister says. "We'll make it look like he's the jealous one." My wife laughs softly. "I'll post the video. You forward the screenshot. Make it look like it leaked. He will implode. Say it's an accident." There's a pause, and then we can say we're worried about him, and he'll be grateful. Her voice is bright. It's the voice of someone rehearsing a play. It's the voice of someone who has decided to fix the story in public before the story can fix them. My legs give out. My world is a series of sounds now. The crockery breaking in my head. My cousin asking if I need water. Her sister whispering, "It'll be fine." The recording continues. Her sister says, "And if he calls you out, look hurt." That's the important bit. Look hurt. My wife chuckles, the kind of soft laugh that feels like a guillotine's hinge. I feel like I've been standing on a glass floor watching the people I love throw pebbles at the cracks until the floor gives. The crescendo is brutal and immediate. My wife looks at me then and I see something in her eyes that used to be reserved for private jokes and amusement at the chaos. She tosses her hand and says, in a voice that is small but precise, "You're paranoid. You always were. Are you okay? Are you the one who needs help?" She has turned the script so many times it's impossible to tell which corner is up. I could have left that. I should have left that. Instead, I pick up my phone and I'm an idiot and I press record on the conversation I've had with her sister earlier. I text the group a message that reads like a knife. "I have recordings too. If you want this to stop, we talk now. It is as dramatic as the chips. It is as unsatisfying as everything else." The room splits. People look at me like I'm the villain for wanting clarity. The fallout is a weird state of being called into rooms for conversations. Her mother sits on the sofa and holds my hand and says, "We never wanted this." Her sister sits with crossed arms and says, "We only asked questions." My mother, who never once forgave me for being a child, now looks like she's watching a rehearsal for a tribunal. And then there is the bomb that flips the table. Our son wanders into the room, rubbing his eyes, asking if it's bedtime. All of a sudden, the performance collapses into reality. People look at him and realize he was watching. He remembers the chips argument. He says in a small voice, "Stop yelling." There's a hush like the world inhaling. I decide in that freeze, but I will not throw him into a war staged by adults. So I gather him, and packing him feels like packing a future. It is not a decision made out of brave rhetoric. It is made because children deserve to have fewer edited moments in their lives. I put his small hand in mine. My wife starts to cry, an immediate soft cry that makes people uncomfortable, and says, "Don't do this here. Don't take him." She reaches for him. I feel old and terrified. I say, "I will not fight here." I say, "We will talk to someone." She says, "You can't take him. The word take is an ownership claim." Her sister says, "You're being dramatic." My mother says nothing. We leave the rehearsal dinner without a scene because some people prefer the war to be staged elsewhere, but the damage is done. People have listened to recordings, screenshots have been compared, alliances have formed. The night ends with everyone hugging and saying, "Call me tomorrow," like words that are meant to clean dishes but not stains. The next day is a blur of text messages. Lawyers are mentioned in hushed tones by people who think naming a legal term makes them wise. Her mother suggests counseling as a family. Her sister continues to send me passive-aggressive memes about privacy. My phone fills with messages from unknown numbers offering support and then asking for details. People are vultures, I tell myself, and vultures can also be kind. Then come the leaks. The video of her in the cab is suddenly on an anonymous account.
account, more screenshots appear in group chats. My message thread, the fake one, is now circulating with added context and a stitched narrative that I'm the guilty one. The internet compresses nuance into sound bites and posts them with hearts. I try to respond. I send a message to her. We need to sit down with a mediator. She replies, I don't want to argue in public. I'll see you tonight. She's being reasonable in a way that is exhausting, reasonable enough that it becomes a wedge. I want to tell her I have recordings. I want to tell her you and her sister plotted to make me look unstable. I want to tell her I saw the way she laughed. But we're both performing restraint. We are both actors with access to one another's instruments, and we've already found new ways to neurotically tune them. Then, as the worst final act of the weekend, there's an email to my boss. Someone, I don't know who, sends an anonymous tip with screenshots and accusations. My boss calls me into a meeting and asks if everything's okay at home. I feel like a bad sitcom where the punchline is your dignity. I say, I'm dealing with personal things. And they say, take time, like handing me permission to disappear. Nothing in that meeting resembles comfort. The climax, in retrospect, is not a single explosion. It's months of micro-explosions that culminate in a public unraveling where the people I thought would protect me decide which version of me they prefer. Some choose my wife because she's easy to like at holidays. Some choose me because my friend Lena posts a screenshot showing the recording where my wife and her sister talk about staging me. People are people, and they choose the story that requires the least cognitive work. I spend nights listening to my own voice notes, to the recordings of them plotting, to the evidence that someone tried to make me look like the villain. I replay the moment where our son walked in and said, stop yelling, because it was the one honest thing that punctured the performance. It is a sliver of truth in a room full of forged mirrors, and the fallout is not cathartic. It's messy and slow and full of small humiliations. Her sister texts an apology one day, a string of words that reads like a legal brief. I didn't think it would go this far. I'm sorry. Her mother calls and asks me to come over and talk, but when I arrive, they talk about how I must be feeling and not about the recordings. They say, we love you, and the way adults say love when they are trying to avoid asking anything hard. I decide to stop asking, not because I give up, but because I'm going to be smart with my anger. I file the recordings in a folder. I stop posting in the groups. I set my phone to do not disturb. I begin to plan like someone assembling a map. Lawyer, custody, counseling, not drama, logistics. I call a mediator. I call a family therapist. I try to tether myself to words that are slow and deliberate. I'm learning to treat my life like evidence, not performance. The hardest part is the quiet. It sneaks in, a thing that sits on the back of your hands like a cat. Some nights I dream about their conversation, the one Lena recorded, and I wake up with my heart pounding, my pillow wet. Sometimes I walk past my wedding photo and imagine ripping it off the wall. Sometimes I take it down and look at how people looked at us then. Bright, naive, and perfectly two-dimensional. I fold the photo and put it in a drawer. It sits with the receipts folder where I keep the small proofs. My life is a shoebox of truths. And then, because stories are cruel, they ask me to be the bigger person. Strangers at work say, you should forgive. People on the internet tell me I'm overreacting. My wife posts a curated photograph of her and her son making pancakes, and she writes, love is messy but worth it. The caption is a balm in the blade. I am not sure which impression to respond to, the one where I am the broken man in need of help or the one where I am the vindictive spouse with receipts. Both are true in a way. Both are convenient narratives for people who don't want to sit in discomfort. Or maybe I am both. Maybe we all are.
After the rehearsal dinner imploded, the wedding itself was surreal. I showed up because absence would have been the bigger headline. She showed up looking like a saint. People hugged us like nothing had happened. I stood there clapping politely while her cousin married the man in the off-white suit, and all I could think about was how many marriages in this room were already cracked down the middle but still performing stability for the crowd. During the reception, she pulled me aside. Stop, she said. Stop making it worse. Her face was soft, but her tone was blade sharp. You're embarrassing yourself. I wanted to scream. I wanted to play Lena's recordings into the DJ's mic and let everyone choke on the truth. But I didn't because my son was running around the dance floor with glow sticks, and he deserved one night where adults didn't turn into monsters. The real bomb didn't drop at the wedding. It dropped a week later. Anonymous package left at my door, plain manila envelope. Inside, a USB drive. I swear I almost laughed because this whole thing already felt like a badly written soap opera, but I plugged it in anyway because curiosity is my curse. On it, videos, recordings from our baby monitor. Not just ours, like not just me and my son, her. In the living room, late at night, talking on speakerphone. Her sister's voice clear as daylight. Planning, rehearsing. We'll say he's been unstable. We'll show the messages. People always believe the woman if she looks sad enough. Then another, her in the kitchen, whispering to someone else, not her sister this time, a man. Not the neighbor's fence guy either, someone I don't even recognize. She's laughing, saying, if he finds out, we'll just say he's paranoid. It always works. And then the worst one, her on the phone with my mother. My mother, who had been looking at me with quiet disappointment for weeks. In the recording, my mom says, he'll break, just let him spiral. He always was dramatic. My own mother. I sat there watching these videos on repeat, feeling my chest collapsing on itself, because it wasn't just betrayal by a spouse, it was conspiracy, it was family, it was everyone I thought would hold me upright, rehearsing ways to cut my knees out. And here's where I'll be honest. I nearly lost it. I nearly did the thing they were hoping for. Spiral hard enough that they could say, see, we told you he's unstable. But instead I did something quieter, scarier, stronger. I copied the videos. I copied the recordings. I copied the screenshots with metadata that Lena had dug up showing they were fabricated. And I sent them, not to the family, not to her, not to my mother, to her job, to the clinic board, to the licensing authority. Because you don't get to play with people's lives and then put on scrubs and call yourself a healer. You don't get to rehearse gaslighting schemes at night and then go counsel patients in the morning. I didn't even add commentary. I just sent the files with one line. You should know who you've hired.